All right, guys, what's up? Tom Hayes here. Again, channel's all about Amazon FBA. So today I want to talk to you about running Facebook ads, how to set them up, how to pick your targeting, just kind of some of those brief basics. We've talked about some pieces of this in other videos, but today I want to break it down a little bit further for you. If you have not subscribed, consider doing so. Regularly dropping new content on here, trying to stay up on every curve and make sure that you guys are up to date on all the information and everything Amazon. So that being said, all right, so I've picked this product, camping tent, just to kind of break this down for you. So this is not my product, let me just be clear about that, but let's just walk through kind of the power of Facebook ads and what you can do with just the information you can find very readily available, okay? So the craziest part to me about this is that if you learn Facebook ads, you have a skill set all of a sudden that allows you to all of a sudden open up all sorts of other avenues, not just Amazon FBA, but then you can do Shopify. You can also do social media marketing. There's there's so many things you can do, especially when it comes back to brand building, which is what I teach on Amazon. It's not just Amazon FBA and how to launch your first product, but it's also on top of that, how to actually build a brand and a community and a following around those so that you have eager buyers for your products, okay? So that being said, we're going to be doing this tent today. All right. So if we jump over to audience insights, all right, and actually in one of the previous videos, we talked about how to set up your actual Facebook page for your brand, as well as a business, manager account, which is what you need to get into your ad account. Do not run ads on your personal ad account page. Make sure you have a Facebook page that's your business Facebook page for your brand, for Amazon that you're doing this on. Okay. So we're going to start in the United States. And right now, as you can see, this is just if you select everybody on Facebook. And as soon as you kind of come in here, you can start seeing, all right, the broken down demographics. And this is just kind of your country overall, all right? But as soon as we put in, say, camping, right, you're going to see this shift, right? And it might not be super dramatically, but the crazy part now is you can actually come in and you see all of a sudden it went from like 200 million people to 35 to 40 million. You can see where they're at, okay? You can actually figure out what states are more likely to have someone that's probable to buy these things, right? So, as you click see all, you have an idea of where to target people better, all right? So when we're looking for this, it just kind of helps you at least have an idea, okay? And it also gives you an idea of, are there more males or females? Here it's fairly evenly split. But then also, the majority of them, I would say, are in kind of these three categories. So you're looking at 25 to 54. And as we kind of hone in on this, those are probably going to shift and change. So understand that Audience Insights is a tool that allows you to plan who you want to target in your actual ads. This isn't actual, we haven't built out a campaign or, an ad set or an actual ad yet. This is just allowing us to figure out, okay, who would be interested in the product that we're actually promoting. So in here, there's a bunch of really, kind of cool things we can start doing though, all right? So with camping, we can now go to page likes. And this is kind of huge because Amazon knows the typical behavior of the people that are interested in camping. What else are they likely to like, okay? And if you come down here and see this affinity score, that just gives you a good indication that they're that much more likely to like whatever it is that you're promoting. And we're going to talk further about targeting in a moment. I just wanted to walk through and show you kind of, the brief way to kind of go about doing this, all right? So this is something that, it kind of just gives you some relevance in looking into things, all right? But if you can click on any of these and it'll actually take you to that page and let you kind of see what's going on there. It's not something that we need to do right now though. I just was trying to let you know that. All right, so with this, let's actually come back to the ads manager, all right? And I already went ahead and just clicked create a new campaign. And it basically comes up with your campaign name and your first ad set name and your ad name, all right? So what I like to do here, as you can see, we have not really gone through any of this yet, all right? But this is the actual tent demo. I just put in a name. And then for your ad set, I like to actually put my age range and what I'm targeting and any other details that is going to help me quickly reference, my different ad sets. Because what we're going to do is really break down and split test to make sure that we're actually targeting the right people. And understand when you first start running Facebook ads, done improperly, you're going to lose a lot of money. Done properly, you're going to spend money before you make money because you're acquiring data, right? You're letting Facebook's algorithm run and you're figuring out who your potential, actually most likely buyer is. And there's ways that we can actually, hone in on that and mitigate our ad spend on things that are unnecessary, but it takes a little while to actually figure out exactly who you're going after, okay? So in here, there's a few different kind of methods of logic, all right? So you could click on traffic. You could also click on, I just typically go to conversions. It's typically a little bit more expensive, but it's kind of searching for people that are actually going to be potential buyers as well. It factors into the algorithm in that capacity. So I'm willing to spend a little bit more money to collect that data and kind of be in the realm of this, okay? So I'm trying to do this very high level such that you guys understand and grasp the concept, because I could literally make a 4-hour video going through setting up one ad. But I'm just trying to give you broad spectrum, what the power of this thing even is, okay? So while we're breaking this down, all right, let's just start here, okay? So you can set a campaign spending limit here. I don't actually recommend doing that. I recommend setting a daily limit, because this will just kill your campaign eventually. As far as optimization goes, I mean, you can come in here and play around with a bunch of stuff. So here's your daily budget, all right? So I'd put it at $20, and you can play with these things. I typically just put it at the lowest cost, all right? So, and then with your advanced options, you can start changing all sorts of stuff. Here's the deal, is from what we're trying to achieve in this type of targeting, we don't really need to go into the weeds. It's really not that actually complex, okay? So if we do this, and then we're gonna hit publish, all right, let's, no, it's not gonna let me do that. So we'll just click here. We won't publish this yet. I was just kidding. So now look, in here, we're going to actually run through a few different things, okay? So there's a pixel setup that's old for actually a drop shipping site that I built out as an example for some other people. And there's a few reasons why I'm in this actual ad account, and I'll show you after. But so right now, for the sake of this video, let's just actually go to lead. All right, see if it'll just let me do that. All right, now in previous videos, we've talked about syncing this up with, if you're running an actual ad that has, a one-use code from Amazon, then we would be playing with this. I honestly don't think we need to in this scenario, because we're just gonna let this run. Now, what I want to do though is when we come down here, all right, we're going to use everyone in the United States for right now. All right. And we could go back and cross-reference this audience insights and, where these people are actually located to see, but it's hard to really judge that for me. You could run this, but then all right, time out, I guess. So here's what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say at the end of the day is that the more variables that you put into this and don't split test, and what I mean by split testing is having a different actual ad set, is then if you put, all of these different places and then a whole bunch of different pages that they might like, and then a whole bunch of, let's just say a specific age range in there, right? You don't know why that all of a sudden that campaign may or may not be performing. So let's break down how we actually kind of sort this out, all right? So let's ignore location for a minute and let's come back over here, all right? So in here, we're gonna do the US. And actually to start, I'm probably gonna leave these ages alone, all right? So we did see the demographics here, well, let's just put them in, all right? So let's go 25 to 54. That's gonna be the bulk of everything anyways. So, 25, 54, all right? All right, so for detailed targeting, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to audience insights, and we're gonna go to page likes, all right? And I'm gonna come down here to the page likes in the affinity section, all right? So here's actually, on Facebook, this tells you the monthly users right here that are active within these. So let's use Cabela's as our first example, okay? So I'm gonna use that. All right, there are a ton of other suggestions here and a lot of other things. I want you to leave this alone. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, add in everything that's relevant, and there's a specific reason why we're not going to do that, and I'll show you in a second, all right? So we can actually narrow this as well, and you can go to engaged shoppers, all right? This is just a purchase behavior that are much more likely to opt in into the shop now and actually go to your call to action and do something with that, just from basically Facebook's algorithm, all right? So connection type, we've covered this in other things in one of the other videos, but I like to exclude people that like my page. And part of the reason for that is, especially if you're going to run a promotion that, maybe it's something, a heavy discount of sorts, right? And you want to exclude the people that have already bought it, maybe have already had some other kind of promo, you can actually rule them out. I sometimes will do that, sometimes won't. It kind of depends, right? So if you're new and you're trying to just build this thing, then I wouldn't even worry about this, right? If you have 4 people that like your page, then don't exclude them, include them in this. But if you have 5,000 people that like your brand's page, that's a different scenario, okay? So, just as an option, realize you can do this. All right, so automatic placements recommended. I don't recommend doing that. I think it eats up so much of your ad spend. And especially because while we build this out, you're going to see very quickly why. Okay, so audience networks, no. Instagram, no. And the reason for that is realize that Facebook and Instagram display very differently. So I actually build 2 different types of ads for each one. All right, so I build one for Facebook and one for Instagram, just because it's a different platform, and the way that they appear actually on mobile is very different. Okay, so when I'm going through this, I'm going to get rid of a lot of these actually. The news feed's fine, right hand column's fine, messenger inbox is fine, stories, I'll leave it in here depending on what I'm running. If I'm running a video, I've found that this is way more effective than if you just have an image, right? If someone's watching videos and they're like kind of going through stories and just an image pops up, it doesn't actually convert as well as a video that is captivating and really shows features and benefits and things like that of your product. So it kind of depends what kind of an ad you're creating. Today we're making actually just a still image, so we can actually just get rid of this whole thing, okay? Same thing here in article. I haven't found that works well. All right, so you can see that this just shrunk down dramatically, right? And we're really honed in right now to it's you still have 1.2 million people, all right, and it's telling you this is your estimated reach, and this is based off numerous factors, right? Your ad spend and where you're actually displaying your ads and all these different factors, but don't necessarily worry about that just yet. So when we're coming down here, people go back and forth on this as well. So a lot of people will argue if they're not connected to Wi-Fi, then they're likely not going to buy right then and there, because they might be on the train or commuting from work or in the car or something like that. So Wi-Fi can be something that helps, all right? It can be one of those things where it isn't indicative that they're somewhere where they're familiar enough that they're on the Wi-Fi. Now, again, people traveling good on airport or Starbucks or whatever else too. So it's kind of a wash in my opinion. You can play with this. And again, the people that win at Facebook ads are the people that split test and just change little things incrementally, but you need to be able to track how you're changing things. You need to be able to actually look at, your actual ad set here. And this is why this is spelled out this way, because when you do this, then you know what you're changing slightly, all right? And you'll see as we kind of continue going through that. Conversions, all right, so, clicking ad. So after clicking your viewing ad, I don't really like the viewing. I'd rather have the after clicking. And depending, there's different schools of thought on this as well. Let's just say a week, okay? So now we're here, all right? So we have this kind of built out, and we're actually going to jump down to our actual ad, all right? So again, this is your campaign, your ad set, and your ad. All right, so make sure that the Facebook page that you set up for your brand is selected, all right? And if your Instagram's synced up to it, that's fine. Most of the time your ad account, you're going to have it anyway, but we deselected all of Instagram for this actual ad because we're optimizing it more for Facebook, okay? So this was just a picture, honestly, that's from their page. It's not mine. I took it. Usually you're going to have great photos that have already been shot out for your brand, all right? Hopefully something lifestyle, because I find it actually converts better usually, unless it's a great just, product picture itself, okay? So in here, you can choose what kind of ad you're actually running. And there's a few things that I want to show you in a second here, okay? So when we're going through this, though, we come down to this text, all right? And you can see here that you can actually make these bigger. So like, what is this actually going to look like, okay? So one thing too, right-hand column ads can be great. They can also not convert well, so it's something to kind of pay attention to. Newsfeed is really what you want, and then you want it to pop up, in Messenger and other places as well. But your primary text, you want to actually, put a description. Are you giving them some kind of a coupon? Is there some kind of a promo? Is it a new product release? What is it? Okay, so you want to go through and actually fill out more so something that's captivated, right? So your headline should be very straightforward to the point about this. Usually in the description, you want to have some kind of, where it's going and why it's going there. And in the primary text, so we can just say, if you just say, you can see where these are going to show up, right? So typically what I like to do is in the primary text, I like to put something that's kind of like more of a pattern interrupt. It's going to make them stop and look at this, okay? And then it kind of down here, all right, so your newsfeed description link is kind of your additional details, right? That's your description down here, and your headline is what's going to pop up right here, all right? So when you're breaking these down, ad copy is something you always want to test, right? So you could put, great tent for the entire family, 20% off this week, something like that. That's very plain and generic. You can use humor here. You can break down numerous things, all right? So ad copy is something that it takes some time to really figure out. And again, going back to my whole premise on Amazon, if you're building a brand and you have a core identity around that, then this is something that becomes way easier because you already have your angle with your audience, right? You already kind of know what they're looking for, right? Maybe you've seen, doing your research before you launch this, you read a whole bunch of negative reviews about how some of these tents leak at, some of the seams or like the zippers, right? They get condensation, 100% waterproof, yet still breathable, comfortable for the entire family, 20% off, something like that. Okay, so, and what you're going to want to do, and I'm going to show you this in a minute. So let's just break this down. All right. So just for example's sake, we're literally just going to take this and make it very generic. All right. So we're going to take literally stuff directly from their listing and we're going to tweak it a little bit, but all right, so we basically just landed on easy and quick setup, waterproof and windproof camping tent, kind of those things here. We don't really need a description. We could try putting a few different things here. So this URL, right, we've gone over this a few times, but if we go back to this actual listing, we do not take this. Do not take this URL, okay? So I don't think we need to go over that. There's actually a video here if you want to go back and actually look at how to set up your URL. That's not really the point of what we're doing right now, okay? So while we're in here, now we're here, okay? So you see Amazon, you see that it's a URL, all right? So you can have learn more. You can go to, shop now. You can play around with your call to actions and see which ones convert better. And we're almost to this point where I'm going to show you how to do that, all right? So your pixel set up. And really, so there's a couple different ways to do this, all right? So partially you can use this URL. The other way you do it, in the way I'd prefer you actually do this, is that we actually go and set up ClickFunnels landing page where you're actually able to collect email addresses and start building a customer list off of Amazon. But right now, for the sake of this video, we're not going to do that, all right? What I'm trying to get you to understand is the fundamentals of setting up your Facebook ads, ad sets, campaigns, and how you actually build this whole thing out and split test within these, all right? So now that we're at this point, what we're going to do is actually we're going to publish this, okay? And I'm going to show you a very, very critical piece of information in just a second. So what ends up happening is when we actually minimize this whole thing out, okay? So you can now see this is in draft, all right? And this is going to take a while. So Amazon does review all of these. So, and there's very particular guidelines. If you really want to learn more about Facebook ads on your own, they do have a free training course. I believe it's just Facebook Blueprint, and they can actually teach you. Facebook teaches you how to use their actual ad platform. There's a lot of stuff you don't need to know though. So in this certain scenario now, okay, so if we go to campaigns, all right, you're gonna see we have some other ones here. Again, old account. So here is our first ad set. So let's go into this for 1 second and let's see what we actually did here. Okay, so we have 25 to 55, or 54 rather. And we targeted Cabela's, right? So that's really all that we did in this. So we have engaged shoppers. We don't really need to include that. And we have our manual placements. So what we're going to do now is you can actually come back and we're going to actually publish that. All right, let's save this so we retain that information. And in theory, you'd be doing this as you're going through. I'm just going back to show you this now. So if I collapse this and we come back to right here, I can actually go right here and I can duplicate this ad set, all right? So if I just click duplicate, existing campaign, right? It's going to drop right into here, and you can make multiple duplicates, but we're just going to do one, and I'm just going to show you the very premise of how you would do this, okay? So when you duplicate this, what ends up happening is now you have a Cabela's copy. And what I'm going to do is, you remember how we were looking at the audience insights, and we have, let's say, REI, okay? So if we come back to here, we're going to get rid of Cabela's, and we're going to put in REI. All right, non-employers, it's going to be an interest. All right, so now let's go up to the top again. We're going to put in REI, and we're going to publish that. And let me show you something in just a second here, okay? So here's where this starts to get a little bit complicated. So now we have two different ad sets, and you have ads that are running, below each one. So I actually like to look at it from this standpoint, right? So you have campaigns, and this is what we're working on. And then we have ad sets. So now we have two. All right, so the age range, and then you have your actual targeting. And what you're going to start seeing is the results, the reach, the cost per result, all right, the amount spent. And you're going to be able to very quickly tell, which one is actually getting better results and it converting better as an ad set itself, all right? Now, within each one of these, every time you duplicate your actual ad set, you duplicate the ad. And here's the issue with that, right? So right now we have REI selected, and either one's fine for right now because we haven't even started this thing. But if I came in here, right, and again, image one, headline A. So let's duplicate this existing campaign just like that. You can actually go add to all and duplicate this. Okay, that makes it super simple. So now we're putting in both. And let's come down here, and for instance, let's just change like the primary text, okay? So you can change the headline, you can change this. And again, that's why I set these up the way I do, right? So image one, let's say we wanted to put a different image here and try that. Maybe you could say, family camping. Maybe there's one where there's a couple camping or a dog or something, right? You can just name them whenever you want. Your audience will never see these. It's for you to be able to reference very quickly of what's working, what's not. And sometimes it's as simple as the headline. Sometimes it's as simple as, the primary text. So instead of just putting something like this, it's like, so, and just something like that by itself might actually help just get someone's attention, right? They're scrolling through their feed and this pops up. It's like, okay, maybe they've had the issue of them getting wet while camping. So, and here's the thing, when you've done your product research, you know what the issues were. You know what you needed to correct when you made your product superior and you made it better. So utilize that here, right? This is a pain point that you're solving for your customer. So understand, your marketplace and what gets their attention. But what I would do here, if that was what I was going to use, I would put, headline A, text B, right? And now I know that this is different and I can publish it like this, all right? So this becomes different in that capacity, right? So you could get rid of copy on the end of that. I just kind of left it. But here's the tricky part with this, right? So if we come to here, let's go to just this ad set, the original one that we had made, okay? And if I go over here, you can see if we go to manage Facebook comments, so when you get an ad and there's a whole bunch of social proof here, right? A bunch of likes, a bunch of comments, a bunch of other things, then what happens when you start duplicating ads is that social proof goes away, right? It doesn't exist anymore. And that makes it very hard to constantly sustain building that social proof and continuing on. So what I want to do is come up here and you see this post ID, we're going to copy that. Because if we come back over here and we come down to this other actual headline A, a lot of the times these are going to end up being different, right? So manage Facebook comments. You can also delete comments here if there's inappropriate things. You can start changing a lot of things. So you see that's there. What you can basically do is go here, and the post ID that we had just copied, if we wanted to bring that over, we can copy that and submit that. and it's going to pull the other actual ad set over here. And this is an important step because as you keep running these, as you're spending money, you don't want 3 likes on one and 6 on the other and 4 on the other. You'd rather have them all on the same thing, right? So just because it's under Cabela's versus under REI versus, Bass Pro or, the National Park Ranger Service or whatever it is, you want to make sure you're consistent across the board with how you're doing that. So this is a great way to actually do that. And a lot of people won't teach you this, but it's an important step. But really, here's what we've just built out. Okay, so in this, short tutorial, and you're going to have to play with this, but we have the actual campaign, and then we have 2 ad sets. Within those 2 ad sets, there's 2 ads in each one. And in each time, right, so we just changed the text. But you could go ahead and duplicate this again and apply it to all the ad sets, and you could have it be, headline B, image 2, headline A, text B. And you're just going to play with different variables and tweak it, and you're going to start seeing what actually converts better, right? Something as simple as a different headline, a different, pattern interrupt, right? Use pain points, use humor, use things that are going to help people actually be interested in your product, right? If you're conveying to your audience, you've done your market research before entering this, how did you differentiate? Okay, make sure that stands out. How are you actually bringing value to that marketplace, and why do you have a superior product to everybody else? All right, use that. Humor can be a great thing, right? So it's one of those things where it's you have to get creative with your ad copy, with your photos, with things like that. But the fundamentals of building this out is incredibly important. And here's the thing is, I like to spend more money right away. And the reason being is that the faster, in theory, if you spend more money, you're going to end up having results that much faster. And the results then give you data, which then gives you a direction to go in based off that data, which then allows you to accelerate your results that much faster, right? You get to sell more, convert more. You get to start inviting these people that have liked, just for instance, have liked your actual ad to like your Facebook page. This whole thing is so powerful that I really want you guys to understand. All right, guys, again, hopefully you found some value in this. All right, I'm always trying to keep you guys up to date, keep things going forward for you. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, click down below. All right, we have a great community, forever growing. I have a ton of students I'm working with that are crushing it as well. If you're interested in, one-on-one mentorship and kind of accelerating your whole Amazon business brand forward, want to make that thing explode, or you're just getting started and you want to make sure you have a proven blueprint that you're going to be successful, I promise you to come check out the course and the one-on-one mentorship, and you will not be disappointed, all right? We have an awesome community. Quick shout out actually to Jeremy and Evelyn. They made this hat, sent it to me, and that just kind of reflects the kind of community that we have. So be back with more content, and talk to you guys soon.